So this girl is a prodigy in the world of Go, a board game. We see as she thinks to herself how she doesn't need lovers, friends, family or anything of the sort. All of it doesn't matter, all she needs is Go. As she walks past the classroom, she sees this guy playing by himself. She introduces herself as Choi Seol and asks for a match. She proceeds to lose twice, then punches him in the face, begins tweaking and having a temper tantrum, starts crying and sweating excessively, and finally faints on the spot. Yeah, we're all thinking the same thing. This girl is completely unhinged. But trust me when I say that this is one of the most underrated manhwa I've read. So obviously this is our main character and her whole life revolves around Go, which is basically Chinese chess. Not at all, that's probably the worst way to describe it actually. And she is a genius, being able to recall an almost infinite amount of moves, making her capable to compete with the best at only 18 years old. An obsession with Go gained from a certain experience in her childhood. But there's something missing in her playstyle. And that missing puzzle piece seems to be this boy, Sanghun. In their match, she gets so terrified, we get some imagery straight out of Evangelion. Cause there's no way they're showing this like it's normal. No matter how good your opponent is, a board game is never that serious. That's like playing Monopoly and you start having a mental breakdown mid-game. You know what? That's pretty accurate. So after the girl Choi Seol regains consciousness, she just straight up goes to his house. Unannounced. I want to make it very clear, she doesn't know this guy. And we get a glimpse at his home life, which is complicated, an abusive father and no mother. But because Choi Seol is eager to talk to him, he takes her outside. She asks him to play another game with her. And he's obviously confused because the random girl that just punched him and fainted suddenly wants to play another game with him. And the moment he hesitated, she just... That's an odd way of apologizing. The reason for her being so desperate is because there's someone she needs to meet within Go. A man she once played with after losing everything. That reminds Sanghun of him playing Go to be connected with the mother he's lost. So he agrees to play with her. Anyways, when they get to her apartment, she just trauma dumps by saying, yeah, no, I live alone. Both my parents are dead. But she says it so apathetically and casually, as if talking about the weather. She then says that he sucks at making conversations. Which is kinda rude, but I guess. So they play game after game, her losing until she finally wins. And she realizes that he wins because he's always played by himself. He creates moves that Choi Seol has never seen, no matter how many records of games she internalizes. That's why the only person he can beat is Choi Seol. Unlike him, she cannot create her own path. After all, she got this far so early by memorizing an almost infinite amount of game records. He may be missing the fundamentals, but he's also the missing puzzle piece that she needs in order for her to break free. Anyways, this guy appears in her apartment. Sanghun is confused and asks Choi Seol why she lied about her father's death. But she clarifies that her real dad took his life after her mom got in a car crash. She says that this is her adoptive father, the god of this Go era, and the man she needs to defeat in order to meet the person she's looking for in Go. After this, it's time for a tournament arc, and this is Choi Seol's competition. Her first opponent is this guy who's so terrified that he smashes his head against the mirror to clear his mind. Which is behavior expected from someone in an asylum, but not really from someone during a Go competition. And this is exactly what I mean when I say Go cannot be this serious. Because this is what they show us when they're trying to tell us that Choi Seol is completely outclassing him. Just showing straight random imagery. And I get the meaning, but still, come on. And he just resigns afterwards. One thing I do want to mention is that even though he's a minor character, it never feels as though he's one-dimensional. He isn't just a stepping stone for Choi Seol, but he has his own motivations and habits. It may be a low bar, but this manhwa treats every character with a level of respect you won't find in most. Okay, who's up next? Oh yeah, masochistic femboy. This dude really thinks he's Meruem talking about some disrupting one's rhythm. And during his match with Choi Seol, the moment he starts losing, his face turns into this mess. He gets a thrill out of this. With every move, Choi Seol metaphorically beats up this femboy, and he's just loving it. And I guess she ends the match and also him. It's just so over the top and I love it. And just look at his face, he's ecstatic. I am deeply uncomfortable around you. Then she plays against her old teacher. The person who taught her when she was still at a beginner's level. And you can tell that he sincerely liked her, but she saw him as nothing more than a convenience. As this takes place after a certain incident that robbed her of any joy that she had left in her life. She left him behind because she couldn't learn anything more from him. And now Sanghun fears that she'll do the same to him once he's no longer useful to her. And this is the main internal conflict he has. He is deathly afraid of being left behind, of losing someone precious to him. It's as though his mother's presence is still looming over him, refusing to let him move on, forever trapped in the past. On that note, there is something deeply wrong with Choi Seol. She is so focused on Go, it's like if she were to stop, her reason to live would cease as well. As the match of Choi Seol and her old teacher unfolds, we witness how Choi Seol for the first time breaks free of her habits, besting her teacher and ultimately creating a game record. Following this, we get Choi Seol's backstory, at least a part of it. And put simply, it's a tragedy. We see how Choi Seol was talking to her mother on the phone when she was a child. Actually happy and emotive. But while she's on the phone, her mother gets in a car crash and passes away. Choi Seol blamed herself for the accident and her mother's passing. And apparently, so did her father, as he chokes her out while in tears. She then awakens from this nightmare that is rooted in reality. We then witness her morning routine, which seems almost robotic. It's as though she taught herself how to stop feeling, because she's afraid of getting hurt. Now let's talk about her adoptive father, Jin Seo, the best Go player, but he's the same as Choi Seol. The last emotion he can recall feeling is I want to die. But even the reason for that he has forgotten. In that very moment in this car, he thinks to himself that if he wants to die, he can just make the driver let go of the steering wheel. But there's still something keeping him here. He, like most people in this manhwa, has lost something. A person that meant the world to him. The former god of Go. And the reason he took in Choi Seol in the first place. Before Jin Seo and Choi Seol's match, we see Choi Seol smile for the first time, as she thinks back to the person she played with in the hospital, after she had lost everything. And that person was the former god of Go as well. Someone vitally important to her. But just look at their confrontation. This man has so much aura, she's shaking in her boots. And after their first match, she's bleeding from her nose and her eyes are bloodshot. That's the type of thing that happens when you witness a cosmic horror. But I guess that isn't too far off, because what even is this? Those are some depictions straight out of hell. So this is what you see when you play against him. Never mind then, maybe Go is that serious. The only person this guy hasn't beat is the former god of Go. The person Choi Seol wants to meet within Go. Inside this board that is as broad as the universe itself. But right now, she's just terrified. Bro put the literal fear of God inside her, making her question why a simple gesture from a god must bring upon such trials. Like bro, come on, he just placed the stone. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Before their next match, Choi Seol genuinely has a panic attack. Her legs give out and she can't regain her composure. Then, in their next and final match of the tournament, it doesn't seem as though Jin Seo is 1,000 steps ahead of her. And for the first time in an eternity, Jin Seo goes into overtime. Maybe by a stroke of luck or sheer determination, Choi Seol just made a miracle happen. And just before Jin Seo feels like he's playing with the former god of Go again, luck runs out and she collapses. In her sleep, she remembers endlessly walking the halls of a hospital after her father had choked her out and taken his own life. She then wakes up in the hospital and realizes that she has lost. So she goes home, and there, waiting on her doorstep, is Sanghun. And he looks pretty damn. His father does not hold back. So she invites him over, and Sanghun then tells her how his father punched him after he told him that he wanted to become a Go player. He opens up about his mother who passed away while playing Go, and how his father blames her passing on Go. And after listening to every word, she too for the first time tells someone her story. Her full story. She herself doesn't even understand why she tells him. Maybe because she sees a younger reflection of herself in him. So she exposes everything. How her entire family died. And how she awoke in this hospital with no reason to live. Her wanting to die but then meeting this dying man. Who was even unable to speak, but was playing Go by himself. How she started playing with him. And how even though they never exchanged a single word, they were able to make a connection. Meeting her now adoptive father because of him. Once again, she wasn't alone. But even that wouldn't last. And when confronted with the fact that the man was soon going to die, she planned to die alongside him. Then this man, who should be unable to move even a single finger, embraced her and told her to find him inside of Go. And this has become her sole reason to live. And this is when you realize, no matter how apathetic or distant she may seem, deep down, she's still the same child that has just lost both her parents. Still the same child aimlessly wandering the floors of the hospital. Still waiting for her turn to go. And doesn't this perfectly display what loss feels like? For anyone who has ever lost someone important to them, you know how suffocating that feels. People can't let go of the past. No. They don't want to. So we hold on to everything. From the precious to the worst moments. We stay stuck in the past. Remaining as we once were. This manhwa manages to portray this feeling in such a raw and unfiltered manner. Back to the story, but Sanghun is the same. After listening to her story, he also appears as a kid who has never moved on. The kid who has always run away from his problems, never confronting them. And right here, he's about to run away again. And for the next part, it's really important that you experience it yourself. So watch.
Wait, don't go. If I keep playing with you, I might just be able to see Wei. You also want to become a Go player, don't you? I'll help you.
What are you trying to say?
So live with me.
Huh?
Let's live together.
Wait. Oh, hold on, no, what?
I said live with me!
And I said no!
Ugh!
Hey, where are you going?
Then I'll just die then. There's no way I can beat my dad as I am. And that means I won't be able to see Mr. either. Then there's no reason for me to live.
Oh, hold on a sec. That's unreasonable. I always keep coming back to that moment. These memories that forcibly flood my mind. No matter what I do, I just can't drown out the noise.
Decide already!
Wait. Just wait a moment.
Hurry!
Why? Why are you always so extreme?
There was no other way. And I didn't know what to do.
Okay, I'll live with you. So please, don't go throwing your life away.
Don't cry. I get it. So please. Seeing someone cry like this, I don't like it.
This entire scene is just messed up. Like, what do you mean he said, nah, I don't want to live with you? And she responded by threatening to end her own life. But the worst part is, it makes perfect sense for her to behave this way. Before all this, we barely understood her because of a flat affect. Now we know that she's mentally still a child. She never really grew up. So in this scene, she's desperate and behaves irrationally. Because in her mind, it really is all over. So when she then makes rash and reasonable decisions, it's only logical. So obviously this manhwa is sometimes so over the top, and for some the characters' outlooks may seem too pessimistic. But I feel like under all this misery there's a message about loss, how people would rather avoid to deal with trauma. People like to bury the loss of another human being instead of addressing it, because doing that is so much easier. But isn't this exactly what grieving feels like? It's messy, it's all over the place. It is emotional, it's quiet, it is apathetic, it's loud. But no matter how it manifests, it's real. This is why I already love this manhwa. While being downright insane, it still manages to portray these emotions in a way that is so grounded and real. Trust me when I say that in a few years, this will be one of the most popular manhwa out there. And if I'm wrong, I guess it will remain as one of the most underrated manhwa that I've ever read.